Ms. Shay Fields, may we please have a roll call to establish a quorum?
Here. Ms. Fitzwater.
Present.
Dr. Blunt. Present. Ms. Jackson. Here. Ms. Williams.
Present. Thank you. Next, we will move to our board norms.
Hello, everybody. Board of Education norms, number one is cohesive team. We will remember to put students at the center of every decision. Pause after someone speaks to hear all voices. Consider and respect all opinions without judgment. Strive to assume positive intentions.
The board will honor the board policy related to the implementation of Robert's Rule policy. Number two, cohesive collective agreement. The board will honor policy for school board member ethics, use collective voices to reach decisions, honor and respect the work of the board, and supporting the board decisions at all times, aligned with board policies and procedures. Number three, be prepared for meetings. The board will
View the packet detail and submit questions within the established time frame. Questions at meetings should be limited and specific to information not presented in the packet details. No surprises at meetings. Extend courtesy for each member's questions. Members of the board will arrive 10 minutes prior to the start of the meeting if possible. Administration will release board packets to the River Garden School District Board Education within the identified time frame. Number four, not allow outside entities to dictate board actions. River Garden School District Board of Education decisions will be made based on facts, policy, and procedures, not individual opinions or requests. Educate and encourage the community to follow proper protocol for voicing concerns. Policy KC, community engagement.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. Next, may I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, it has been moved by Ms. Moore-Rio and seconded by Ms. Jackson to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The agenda is approved. Next, we will move to Riverview Excellence.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues and community, and scholars. And thank you, Mr. Scheit, for opening that up. Tonight for Review Excellence, we have four esteemed individuals that we are going to acknowledge. First, if I could get Howard Hernandez Woodard and Mr. Ike Fortenberry to stand, please. And we are honoring these. These are two different individuals. Mr. Hernandez Woodard is the Assistant Director of Safety and Security here for the district. Mr. Fortenberry is the grandfather of a Gibson Elementary School scholar, Lamore J. And even though they're different individuals, we're honoring them for similar reasons. So last week, I believe Monday, when we had snow, we had a lot of inclement weather. Mr. Woodard, again, he's the Assistant Director of Safety and Security. he came over to Central Services, and he told me, we had a conversation. He said someone had cleaned off the snow on his wife's car, and so he wanted to pay it forward. So he came to Central Services and cleaned every windshield, every window of every car in the Central Services lot, just out of general kindness. And for Mr. Fortenberry, again, he's a grandfather of a scholar at Gibson, and he did a similar act. He went to Gibson Elementary with a shovel. He offered to shovel the sidewalks to make sure that the students and the staff could get in and out of the building. And so both of these were just out of the kindness of these gentlemen's hearts. So we just wanted to give our appreciation and say thank you for those acts.
My wife actually works in the neighboring school district over in Jennings, and I was actually going to clean her windshield, and she asked me would I clean her coworker's windshield, and this was all at her central office. And I didn't have my scraper, so I had to go down to Bell Fountain and 270 to purchase a scraper. Well, in the interim, on the way there, she calls me and she said, "Hey, someone came over and cleaned all of our windshields, so you don't have to come." So I thought about getting a refund with the scraper. And then it hit me that, I need to pay this forward because our central office at that time, they were the only ones I believe that may have been working. I think the middle schools were getting out later. So I decided to come over and pay it forward because I know they work hard here. I know they work long here, and I know there's wives, there's unmarried people, there's men here that work hard, and I would want them to do that as well for my wife. So I decided to pay it forward again. And I wasn't expecting this, and I'm probably going to catch a lot tomorrow from my coworkers. All right, thank you so much.
I'd just like to say the same. I wasn't expecting anything like this here. I was just waiting on the kids to go in, and you see them, you tell a kid, "Hey, don't step in that puddle of water." That's the first thing they're gonna do. So the parents letting them out, and it was just trying to stay out of the snow. But I figured I'd just clear the path for them. So I went home and got a shovel and salt, and came back and did everything I could do until the janitor came out and brought me more salt. So I decided to just go all around the perimeter as much as possible. I had time to kill. I'm retired, so so that's it. And I also like to just commend the staff at Gibson. I have an autistic great-granddaughter, and she attended Gibson last year before last, and oh man, just tremendous improvement. And so I just like to commend this.
Ah.
Staff and everyone on the work being done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'll have you come up to take a photo after we recognize the other two guests. If I can have Michelle Cooper and Sally Cook, please stand. And Ms. Cook and Ms. Cooper are also at Gibson Elementary School. Ms. Cook is the SSD resource teacher, and Ms. Cooper is the social worker. Ms. Cook secured over $1,500 to support the families at Gibson over the Thanksgiving break. And that helped to provide 25 turkeys, holiday gifts, essential food items. She partnered with Ms. Cooper and the social workers at a lot of the schools worked with different organizations to help identify the families that were needy so that they could have a turkey for Thanksgiving, so they could have sides, so they can have Christmas gifts. And so we just wanted to honor them for their hard work to support the scholars there at Gibson Elementary and the families, because it really goes to support the entire community. Words.
If they're going to come, say a few words, come to the podium so that the virtual audience can see you as well. Come on up, ladies.
Don't be shy.
Just want to say thank you all. Definitely do this for the kids and the family and the community. And we're coming back even harder for Christmas, so.
Yes, I also want to say thank you very much. And I mean, I just felt like it was just amazing to be able to help these families that I work with, their kids every day. And yeah, and I also want to thank a former employer of mine, Andrews Academy out in Lake St. Louis. I have remained really good friends with the principal out there, and just a random nightly outing, we got talking, and they were in the middle of doing this huge food drive, actually for St. Louis area food banks. And I said, hey, I have an idea. Let's skip out the middleman of St. Louis area food banks and maybe like, do you want to partner with us? And we can just take all the food directly to our school. And she was like, that's amazing. So Michelle and I went out there with a truck, and they donated their entire food drive to us, which is how we ended up with all like the canned goods and everything. And
Nice.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
Their student leadership team out there voted to do that, and they would like to maintain a partnership with Gibson Elementary for future endeavors. So
Nice.
Very
awesome.
good, very good. Very good.
Thank you both. Thank you both.
Hold on, come on around. We got to get your photo with the Board of Education. If you come around, there's an opening right here in the middle.
Where's Woodard?
Yes, right in front. Paging Howard Hernandez Woodard, Mr. Woodard. He was busy securing the premises. It's all right. Thank you all, and that concludes Riverview Excellence.
Ms. Fields, do we have any patrons for public comments?
Ms. Fields? Shay? Any patrons for public comment?
Okay, thank you. Next, we will move to our reports. We will first have our student representative report and our superintendent report.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Henry Dad, and I'm on the super. One of our positive developments at Gardens High School consists of ensuring leaders attending the Legacy Center to help support people in need, helping these people in the community and showing love and support to those who need it most. Also, a special shout out given to all education teachers, special education teachers on December 2nd. Thank you for all you do for our students. Right now, there's currently a holiday spirit week going on at Riverview Gardens High School. Monday was Grinch vs. Santa. Tuesday, today, was Ugly Christmas. Wednesday is Winter Wonderland. Thursday is Family Photos. And Friday is Movies and PJs. For some of our upcoming events, the Riverview Gardens Marching Band has a winter concert tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m., where they will showcase the band, the choir, the Sensational Sapphires, and more. They are also hosting a winter dance this Friday. Coming this Monday, December 15th, during the lunches, students will be able to pie classmates and staff members.
Mr. Bass, when you say pie, can you explain that, sir?
Students will be able to purchase actual pies to throw at their classmates and staff members.
Yeah, that, I just wanted to clarify. That's what I thought you meant. Okay, all right.
Next week, starting on Tuesday, December 16th, Riverview Gardens High School will be commencing their finals. We encourage everyone to have a safe and happy holiday break. Thank you, everyone. This concludes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Bass.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bass told me he was nervous, but you did a fantastic job. And let me say this too, we are here to support you. So even if you stumble sometimes, we are here to catch you and support you. So don't worry about that, okay? You did a great job. Did a great job. Till you got to the pie thing, I need to talk to high school administration or something. So I just want to comment on just our attendance. I just want to remind our parents and our students to be in attendance every day, as you know, and I will keep saying this because I am very proud of it. We were 1 point away from full accreditation, and attendance makes the difference. So please make sure your students are in attendance every day. Even when you check them out early or bring them in late, that counts against their attendance. And students who miss more than 15 days of school, whether excused or unexcused, is then jeopardy of failing and not being moved to the next grade level. So parents, please make sure your students are here, not only for that reason, because it also helps them with reading, learning to read and math. And so we want to promote that. And then I just want to leave this as students who have chronic absenteeism becomes the leading factor to high school dropouts. So families, please make sure your students are in attendance on time, and make sure if you can limit checking them out early, that would be helpful because that does count against their attendance. We have many holiday programs happening throughout the district, so please check with your school so that you are aware of your school's holiday programs. I do want to comment that the end of the second quarter is December 19th, and then winter break will start. Winter break will be from December 22nd to January the 2nd. There will be a teacher workday on January the 5th, so our students do not return until January the 6th. So please please be reminded of that. And then there will be a special board meeting. We will put this information out on December the 18th at 1 p.m., and that will be a virtual meeting. And finally, I want all of our families and our staff to enjoy their holiday. Now, this doesn't mean we're done after today. So no, we will be here the rest of the week and next week. Our last day will be December the 19th, and winter break will begin December 22nd. Madam President, that concludes my announcements.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patton. Next, we will move to the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair. Testing. Madam Chair, can we remove a particular item for individual vote?
Okay, you can make a motion.
Okay, I'm just trying to find a letter so we can just do an individual vote on. If we can do individual votes on the staffing plan and
Dr. May, which one, C and D or C or D?
C. Yes, we can do C and D. We only have a few on here. Let me see. A, B. Yes, those two. Unless there's other board members that want to do an individual vote on anything else. Is that it? All right, I move that we do an individual vote on items C and D of the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? Second. Okay. It has been motioned by Ms. Dr. May to approve the consent agenda, however, to vote on item C, which is the 2025-2026 staffing plan adjustment for secondary and other departments, and item D, which is the 2025-2026 elementary staffing plan adjustment reductions as separate items. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. We'll go with the first part, which is to approve the consent agenda and then vote on those items separately.
Madam Chair, we have to vote on my motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed. Okay, all right, motion passes. All right.
All right, Madam Chair. I move that we approve consent items A, B, E, F, G.
I second.
It has been moved by Dr. May and seconded by Ms. Moore Real to approve consent items A, B, E, F, and G. Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move to approve item C, staffing plan adjustments for secondary.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Who's this? Dr. Coleman, okay. It has been moved by Dr. May and seconded by Dr. Coleman to approve item C, the 2025-2026 staffing plan adjustment for secondary and other departments. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Show y'all in favor.
Madam Chair, could you do a roll call?
Okay, Shay, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Blaine? Yes. Ms. Tisworth? Yes. Ms. Jackson? Yes. Ms. Williams? Yes. Motion passes.
Madam Chair, I move to approve item D 2526 elementary staffing plan adjustment.
Second.
All right, it has been moved by Dr. May, seconded by Dr. Coleman, to approve the 2025-2026 elementary staffing plan adjustment reductions. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? You want a roll call vote on that also? Okay.
Dr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Gillen? Ms. Lane? Yes. Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we will move into our items for discussion. Dr.
Thank you.
Patton?
Thank you, Madam President. Our first item up for discussion is the surplus library books. Making this presentation is Ms. Tanya Ross. She's the ELA Curriculum Coordinator as well as Secondary Science Coordinator. This is in reference to policy D in surplus district property. Ms. Ross?
Good evening to the board,
You started that,
Superintendent.
Ms. Ross, you started.
Good evening to the board, Superintendent Dr. Patton, colleagues, and the school community. So I'm offering up for discussion, permission to deem our library books as surplus. It is needed for two reasons. One, we want to make sure that we are giving out, allowing our students to check out books that are quality books that are not torn or ripped or ruined in any kind of way. And also, we have the expectation that our circulation is within 10 years for publishing. And in order to do that, our librarians are expected to weed the books in order to keep in a library that's up to date in terms of publishing of all of the books. There's no cost to the district. We then will donate those books to the Goodwill. They are used in other fashions, but the larger portion of the books are donated back to the community. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ross. Our next item up for discussion is the Project Aware Grant. Making this presentation is Ms. Deirdre Liddell, the Executive Director of Student and Community Support Services, and this is in conjunction with Policy DD Grants. Ms. Liddell?
Greetings to the Riverview Gardens Board of Education, Dr. Tanya Patton, colleagues, and community. The Project Aware Grant, AWARE stands for Advancing Wellness and Resiliency in Education Grant. This is the 5th and final year of this grant. The grant has allowed us to have our restorative program, our mindset safety training, and then we have some upcoming PDs for school-based health center and some other mental health and wellness programs that we'll have coming forward. This grant has provided us around 400,000 plus per year. And with that, this is our 5th and final grant. So I'm asking that the Riverview Gardens Board of Education accept the 25-26 Project Aware Grant budget as a recommendation for approval will be presented at the next Board of Education meeting. Are there any questions? Thank you.
All right, Ms. Liddell, thank you. The next item up for discussion is the Prop S, but we are waiting for a person to join Mr. Scheid. So I would like to move to the next item and come back if that's okay, board members.
Yes. I just have a quick question about. Yes, I was just curious, with the budget including, salaries, what was the plan to address?
Are you talking about? that?
Yes,
Okay.
with the grant. It has salaries included, so I was just curious of the plan once the grant ended, concerning the salaries.
We've already met with all of the individuals in regard to that. When we first hired for the grant, we let them know that we were on a 5-year timeline. We are looking, at any different options as far as additional grants that may be out there, that will cover mental health and wellness to see if we can keep those positions. But many of, some of the people have been moved off of the grant, and we're using those additional funds for different professional development to ensure that we're able to keep some of the programs that we have going, with skilled, people that are still in the district.
Okay, thank you.
We will skip the next item. We are waiting for another person to come in, and we will move to the next item up for discussion is the communications plan. Making this presentation is Mr. Ishmael Sistrunk. He's the Executive Director of Communications, and this is in conjunction with policy GBH, EHB, and KB. Mr. Sistrunk?
Good evening again. Tonight I present the communications plan for the 2025-2026 school year. A lot of this information was presented on October 28th in the programs review. So I'm not gonna go into a ton of detail. The major updates that we made were to update the marketing plan for Michelle Obama Early Childhood Academic Center, to increase timely communications by developing a communications calendar, to increase parent and community knowledge of the district's mission, vision, and core values, and to create more opportunities for student involvement with the website and just with communications in the district. Policy KB and NSIP 6 version 6 both stipulate that the communications plan be presented. One says regularly, the other one says yearly. That's why it's coming before you. We also updated the branding guide, or created a new branding guide and updated the communications guidelines. But otherwise, it is similar to the previous year's plan, just with some updates and new strategies. Are there any questions?
All right, Mr. Sistrunk, thank you. Our next item up for discussion is Prop S Building 9 facade. Making this presentation is Mr. Carl Scheid. He's the Executive Director of Facilities and Food Service. Mr. Rob, yeah, I'm good,
Mr. Rob is fine, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Rob, we're gonna go with that, and then Mr. Larry Ford. Mr. Scheid, this is in conjunction with policy GJF, purchasing. Mr. Scheid?
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues and community. Tonight I come before you with an item for discussion, which is Prop S, Building 9 facade. As you're aware, we've done a lot of work at the high school, really shoring up a lot of our exteriors. One area that required extra work was the Building 9 facade. So on both the east and western face of the building, there are these large clay panels that serve to hide our HVAC equipment, also work as a sunshade and so forth. Those are original to the building. They've been deteriorating over the last 60+ years. We're reaching a point we have to do something with them because since they're starting to crumble, their structural integrity is compromised. So we've been exploring and how we can accomplish this, and we've arrived at a solution. So with me tonight is Rob with Weatherproofing Technology. He's going to run through the project and give you a little bit more background on it. Again, we're doing this as we've previously done, utilizing the Omnia Partners Purchasing Co-op. That's how we're managing this project. And the projected cost for this was $824,179.88. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rob, and he can go into some of the details, okay?
Mr. Scheid, can you specify where that funding is coming from?
Yes, this
please?
is coming from the Prop S funds.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members, staff, and community. Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Mr. Rob, pronounce your last name for us.
Kookaroo.
Kookaroo. Okay.
So no one really ever reads it off a piece of paper, and I'm pretty used to that.
Okay.
But thank you. And Mr. Ford is absent today, but he has helped all of us work on this project, as well as we had a design element approximately a year ago that we worked with Hearst Roche Architects and Engineers to assist in designing this. I'm gonna go ahead and move to the next slide. Let's see here and get this working.
Is it on?
Right arrow, where do I point at? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're starting with an existing photo here. And what we wanted to highlight is the existing conditions. We have a design element that was from the original building, I think in the late 50s to early 60s. It's a clay block in steel structure that has had a little bit of a challenge lately where some of the blocks are breaking. And I think we highlighted just a few of them here in the photos. And we have conditions where it's about time for a renewal. And we've been working with the facilities office to come up with some ideas and some elements where we can bring a more safer and modern look to the rest of Building 9 as we have to the rest or some of the other parts of the campus. One of the design elements here you can kind of see in a cutaway on the right-hand side of the screen, which is a louvered system will give it a modern look that we had circulated through some of the people. Oh, and we have a handhold sample that we can circulate. It is heavy and it does have some sharp edges, so please be careful with it. However, there are, let's see here. This is a little bit of a visual of what it might look like moving into the future. It's lighter, it's wind resistant, and it is much like the original building itself, designed to stand the test of time for, some decades to come. So this is kind of the visuals of the process. It's a project that's designed to happen while students and our scholars are out of school. But I'll go ahead and turn it over to any question.
Dr. May?
Is that, what purpose does it serve? Is it for aesthetics or it serves as some type of purpose? What is
So it is partially for aesthetics. It also, behind the existing and behind what you might see here in the visualization, there are multiple what they call mini split units or HVAC units that cool the classrooms and offices behind there. The multiple floors have concrete decks that those units sit on, and these will hide it and also provide some sunshade into the classrooms.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay.
I have a question. Do you
okay,
have
Ms.
any
Lyon.
idea on the warranty and how long this would last?
I do. So the warranty is approximately 25 years. That relates to this material is made out of aluminum and it has a coating that's put on it. So the aluminum and the coating have a 25-year warranty. However, we do expect its life to be in excess of 30 years. There may be a repainting somewhere after 25 years or so.
So what would we do in the circumstance that we would have an opportunity to rebuild this building?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be something that could be incorporated into another design if we were able to rebuild that building?
If you chose to, yes. This will be mounted on a steel frame and could be removed and reused if the district chose to.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I
Dr.
just have a
Coleman.
question.
Mhm.
You said that there are units behind it, so I can imagine that this also helps to keep those units free of debris and thus operating more effectively and needing less repair and less servicing because they're free of that.
Yes, it will. So by limiting the amount of ultraviolet light that hits it, much like the classrooms, and also the wind and debris that would blow through it. Yeah. So, and rain. Yes. So it will shield them somewhat from the elements.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item up for discussion is the 2025-26 resizing the district Phase 2. Making this presentation is me. During the 24-25 school year, Riverview Gardens was required to revise its previously approved FY 24-25 budget after identifying some inaccuracies in the original version, which was adopted in June of 2024. Upon discovering these inaccuracies, we began immediately implementing expenditure reductions measures throughout our district to balance our budget and to mitigate the $23 million projected deficit. With the support of the Board of Education, we were successfully able to reduce the anticipated deficit during FY 24-25. However, we continue to face an estimated $7 million deficit for 25-26. To remain in alignment with the goal of achieving and maintaining a balanced budget, the district must continue to pursue strategic cost-saving measures. This is including reducing faculty and staff through attrition and organizational realignment, securing cost-effective health insurance premiums, improving operational efficiencies, reviewing and reducing contractual agreements, lowering transportation expenditures, eliminating underutilized instructional subscriptions, as well as reviewing the district's debt service to determine any possibility for revenue. The plan that I'm putting forward is to ensure the long-term financial stability and projected core instructional service for Riverview Gardens. This plan outlines strategic expenditure reductions and operational efficiencies. The proposed action focuses on restructuring staffing, optimizing operations, reducing contractual services, many of the things that I just noted. And a summary of that can be found within the item itself. It includes staffing and organizational reductions, operational efficiency, contractual adjustments, transportation adjustments, instructional and program reviews, renewed enhancement. I am asking the board it is recommended that the board approve this plan to the tune of approximately $5.5 million reduction to Riverview Gardens budget. Are there any questions? Okay. Ms. Williams, that concludes the items for discussion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patton. We're going to back up on our agenda. There seems to be some confusion on our agenda where it says public comments. It has / board remarks. Normally, board remarks are made at the regular board meeting, not at the work session. It normally says on the regular agenda for the work session announcements / and then a dash and then board remarks. And so with this saying board remarks, I think there's some board members who may want to make some remarks tonight, and so I don't want to overlook anyone. So board members, if you have any announcements, this will be the time to do so.
Thank you, Chair. I'll make an announcement. This past Saturday at the Ladue Middle School, Dr. Coleman and I had the opportunity to attend the professional learning community. It was available to all of us. And the topic was board and superintendent relationships. There was a panel discussion of superintendents and some board members from multiple school districts in this area. And then we had breakout sessions. And the three that we concentrated on was board self-evaluation, superintendent evaluation, and best practices for board superintendents working together. The reason this is important is I don't believe we have ever had a board self-evaluation. And we discussed that process being facilitated by MSBA, or there was another, something on the website, I got it in my notes, where another school district went online and found one. But it was a 3-hour session, very informative. We learned a lot. And I want to share that with the board. I don't know how we would discuss that, but it's something that I think that we should consider. And also regarding the holidays, I was asked to make an announcement from the North County Fire and Rescue. They are having cookies with Santa on December the 14th. And they say, bring yourself or your children for a photo out with the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other announcements?
Yes.
Dr. May?
First, I would like to announce that, most of us that's on the board, the three of us, we re-registered today for elections. And there are so far 4 candidates. And, on the 27th of December, the city of Bell Fountain will be having their Kwanzaa event. So go to their website for more information. It's normally a very nice event for the community with vendors, great food and entertainment. So, I was at the Alderman Board meeting this week and learned about that event in the city. That's all I have. Thank you. The 27th of December, and, yes, it's a Kwanzaa. I think they are naming it Kwanzaa Market and something else, but, more information is on the website from City of Bell Fountain.
All right, thank you. Okay. There are no further announcements. We will now move to our items for information. Dr. Patton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As part of the resizing the district, one of the things that I mentioned is reviewing our debt service. And so I've met a couple of times with Mr. Lorenzo Boyd. He's the managing director for Stiefel. And I've invited him here to give more detail on what that is and how that could generate revenue for our school district. Mr. Boyd?
Thank you. Do we have it up on the, or should I just pass? I have some pass out to the Board of Education.
You can pass it. I think they have it in front of them too.
Let's see. Let me check real quick. What item?
Okay.
Is this it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Ted, can you guys see if you can pull up the PowerPoint related to that? It's in the item on the,
I think I just pulled it up.
Oh, is that it? I'm sorry. This is where glasses are good. Yep, that's it. Thank you. I could, that's why Tim was looking at me like, Dr. Patton is on the screen. Thanks, Tim.
Yes. Good evening to the Board of Education, Dr. Patton, staff, and members of the community. My name is Lorenzo Boyd, as mentioned previously, Managing Director of Investment Banking for Stiefel. My presentation is rather short. It's only 60 minutes in depth. So.
Did you say 6?
60. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'm proud to say too, I was just thinking, kind of reminiscing here. I've worked with Riverview Garden School District since 1996. So it's going on 30 years.
30 years,
30.
okay.
I don't look 30.
And we
but-
keep you around, okay.
And you keep me around.
And we keep you around.
So we'll start by page 4, and I think if members of the community that are here. So I'll give a brief overview of the school district's outstanding general obligation bond indebtedness. And if you'll deal with me for slightly, I'll look at my sheet here. I can't see the board up there. So I'll give you a brief overview of the district's outstanding indebtedness and the district's Fund 3, your debt service fund. As you know, the school district has 4 funds that it utilizes, your funds 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to specifically talk to you about Fund 3, which is used to pay your general obligation bond indebtedness. So with the first slide, you'll see there, the school district currently has 4 series of bonds that are outstanding. You have your Series 2010 Cs. Those were originally issued back in 2010. Those were qualified school construction bonds, and those were issued through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act back in 2008. Those were issued for a little over $4.6 million. I'm glad to say that those will be paid off in April of 2026, so roughly 4 months. So you'll do the final payment there. Those bonds are being subsidized by the federal government, and you'll see there that the interest rate is 5.7%, but you're receiving a tax credit, so the government is paying you 5.52% of that 5.7%. So it's almost interest-free bonds. Your 2018 A bonds, those were issued in May of 2018. Those were issued in the amount of a little over 8.5 million. There are almost 4 million remaining. Their final maturity will be 2033. And the reason their final maturity will be 2033, as you can see through the colors there, the blue and I guess that's purple. Back in 2022 and 2023, there was excess in the district's Fund 3, the debt service fund, so we were able to pay off those maturities of bonds from 2034 through 2038. So that totaled 3.1 million that we were able to pay off early. Then you have your 2020 bonds. Those were refunding bonds. Those will actually refinance your 2010B and your 2020 bonds for savings. Those were issued for 5.4 million. As you can see there, the final maturity looks like 2030, and there's 4.1 million remaining there. And then you have your Series 2024 bonds. I believe these were the Prop S bonds. Those were issued for 25 million. There's 24.3 million remaining. And as you can see there, the 2020 bonds can be refinanced for savings in April of 2027, and your 2014 bonds can be refinanced for savings in April of 2032. Next page. The next page is basically a summary of the previous page. I'll go to the second stanza. All school districts can issue general obligation bonds up to 15% of their assessed valuation. I will say that when I first started doing this, that was 5%. It went up to 10%. It's now 15%. We've been having discussions with legislators to see if we can increase that to 20%. So with your current assessed valuation of a little over 370 million, the school district can issue up to 55 million in bonds. You currently have 33.4 million, so that means you have capacity or a legal debt margin of a little over 22.3 million. That's not to say you can issue 22.3 million at your current debt service levy, but that's what you can go up to for your capacity. Next page, this is a fact sheet. This is just kind of a general overview of the last 5 fiscal years in terms of the history of your incidental fund, which is Fund 1, your teachers fund, which is Fund 2, your debt service fund, which is Fund 3, and your capital projects fund, which is Fund 4. And you can see there how your funds were allocated over the previous 4 to 5 fiscal years. And what I really wanted to do there too is if you look down at that bottom portion, you'll see there your historical AV. Your AV back in 2020 was a little over 211 million. And you can see over the last 3 years, you gained almost 40% in assessed valuation growth. And that's really common for North County school districts where you saw large amounts of assessed valuation growth in 2023, 22, and 21. And the last stanza there in terms of revenue mix, you'll see there's almost an equal distribution of the revenue that you receive between local funds, state funds, and federal funds, where you're actually getting, roughly between 25 to 38% from the different revenues that you receive on an annual basis. Next page, this is really a page of your debt capacity, and you'll see there what I really want to point out there is you'll see your assessed valuation as you saw from the previous page 2 slides ago, that your capacity was 55.7 million. Your debt at the end of fiscal year 2026 is right around 31.2 million. And you'll see there that your actual capacity goes up every year that you pay off bonds. And if you were able to use the funds on hand in your debt service fund, you'll see to the far right where your actual capacity goes up as well as your debt service fund balances go up. I will say this is pretty conservative because as you can see there, your assessed valuation, we're using 0% growth for each year, which is very conservative. And as you can see, the last 3 years, you've gained almost over 40% of growth. But that's being very conservative. So I think you'll probably see those numbers jump up even more with the growth that comes into the district. Next page, page 8. As I mentioned previously, this is only your Fund 3, and I'll just talk about this page briefly. This is how we kind of look at your debt service fund levy. And as you can see there, this past fiscal year, the district levied, if you go from left to right, you set your tax rate in October of that year. It is used to pay debt service the following year. You'll see that next column is your AV, which is your assessed valuation, and you'll see the growth there, and you'll see your tax rate. Your tax rate that you set this previous year was a 1.1392. That's bringing in revenue of right around 4.1 million. You have your miscellaneous revenue that you put into your debt service fund, which is basically a 5-year average. We call that your state assessed railroad and utilities. And you'll see at the bottom of that page, that's just basically a 5-year average of what you've put into Fund 3 each year. So you'll see your total revenue that's coming in, and let's say that's like right around 4.2 million. And you'll see there that your debt service on all your outstanding bonds that we mentioned on the previous page, roughly for the next 5 years, is right around 3.8 million. You're bringing in 4.2 million from your levy, so that means you're actually generating about a little over 470,000 each year in excess to pay off your bonds. And the last column there is you'll see the green where it starts. If you were to keep your levy at $1.13, you'll see they're looking from all the way across. You're projected with no growth to go over 100% in 2028. You're not allowed to actually go 100% in your debt service fund balances. So that's why in 2022 and 2023, when you did hit that mark, we used those excess funds to pay off some of your bonds. So you see there, we paid off 3.1 million of bonds in 22 and 23 combined. Next page. So as mentioned previously, your current levy is 1.1392. So assuming that the school district will reduce its debt service levy by 10 cents, you'll see there, using the same format that you saw the previous years, you're actually going, since you've already set your levy at 1.1392 this year, you're going to generate around $470,000 of excess funds next year. But you'll see there, because you're reducing your levy by 10 cents, that goes from 471,000 to roughly 107,000. But you'll see there in 2030, your actual required levy goes from $1 to 58 cents. So that means if you were to lower your levy from $1, that 1.1392 to 1.0392, your required levy that you're used to pay your debt service, because you're paying your debt goes from 3.8 to 2.2 million each year, you're going to have lots of excess revenue that you're going to be generating for your debt service fund. So this next page is the same page, but assuming a 20-cent reduction. So this is assuming that you reduce your debt service levy in Fund 3 from 1.1392 to 0.9392. And as you can see there, because your required levy, if you go to the fourth column to the right, because your required levy is $1.01, if you were to set your levy at 0.9392, you're not generating enough revenue to pay your existing debt. But that's okay. You're drawing down your fund balance roughly around $255,000 a year on average, but that's okay because you have really healthy fund balances in your debt service levy. So you'll see that the levy stays over almost 50%. The next page is assuming that you reduce your debt service levy by 25 cents. And you'll see that you're drawing down your fund balance there roughly, but your fund balance still stays above 34% in each year. So we've talked about this in terms of where is that magic number. We're using 0% growth, but your magic number is probably between keeping your debt service levy between 30 and 50%. And then the next page is a 30-cent reduction. And you'll see there you'll see there if you actually reduce your debt service levy by 30 cents to 0.8392, your fund balance drops all the way down to 6%. So that's below that 30 to 50% mark with no growth. So with that, here are the scenarios. By reducing that levy by those different amounts each year, you'll see there that if you were to reduce your debt service levy by 10 cents, and transfer that over to your operating funds, that would actually generate an extra $365,000 per year. 15 cents, 547,000, 20 cents, 730,000 a year, 25 cents, 912,000, and then 30 cents, a little over $1 million each year if you were to transfer any one of those amounts from your debt service fund to your operating fund. That does require a vote of the people. So this is kind of some standard language that you would see that would have to go to the voters. The voters probably are more familiar with when they vote a general obligation bond, it requires 4/7, but when you're doing a transfer from your debt service levy to your operating fund, that only requires a simple majority. And this is how the language will look if you were so choose after this information item to use one of those strategies to actually reduce your debt service levy by any one of the amounts that we mentioned on the previous page. The next page, simply, if you were to take this to the voters, the next available time to take this to the voters would be April of 2026. You would have to actually decide on the amount that you want to transfer from the debt service levy to your operating fund. You would have to have that ballot language approved by the Board of Education and submitted to St. Louis County by April 7th of 2026. There also is another opportunity to do it in August. You would have to have that language approved by the Board of Education and submitted to St. Louis County by May. And while those dates are important, if you waited to November, then you wouldn't be able to actually receive that revenue in 2026. So the two times that you can vote this and transfer those funds over from the debt service levy to the operating levy are April and August, and that would allow Ms. Terry to set that tax rate in October, because if you waited to the November election, you would have to wait until 2027 to receive that additional revenue. And that would be the end of my 60-minute presentation. And I'll open it up to questions or thoughts.
Other percentages, which one would you recommend we take to the voters?
So we were talking, so I'm very conservative in terms of those numbers because I'm assuming no assessed valuation growth, but I would not like to see you go below 50%, 30 to 50%.
So based on that, which levy increase would you?
At the X max, it would be the 25-cent scenario. Because there, you'll see in that scenario, the 25-cent scenario, I believe was on page 13. You'll see there. I'm sorry, not page.
It's page 11.
Page 11. So page 11, you'll see there that if you were to reduce your debt service levy by 25 cents and transfer that over to your operating, so that would take your debt service levy to 0.8892. I'm using 0% growth. And in that scenario, you didn't go below 35% roughly. And I think that's sustainable because I'm very conservative in terms of assuming no assessed valuation growth. And that would generate roughly almost $1 million a year. 912,000. But if you wanted to keep your levy above 50%, then the 20 cent. That's 20-cent scenario, which would actually generate roughly $730,000 extra a year. So if you really want to be conservative and not go below that 50% level, the 20 cents transfer would be the optimal transfer. And that would actually protect you from if assessed valuation growth would go down.
Mr. Boyd, I just want to make it clear that this is not an increase on taxes on any of our residents.
No.
So it is not an increase on taxes. It is using the taxes they've already agreed to pay.
Right.
Correct?
And so basically you're taking your tax rate from one bucket and putting it into another bucket. So the funds the levy that was being used to actually pay debt service, you're just taking a portion of that and transferring that to your operating, so your overall levy would stay the same because your debt service levy is quite robust right now.
And what you're taking it from is the fund balance that we're building on the debt service.
Exactly right.
Thank you. I just wanted that to be clear to our board members as well as to our community.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lane?
I appreciate that, Superintendent. I'm looking at at your ballot language. And the first time I see the word increase, I'm a citizen.
Yeah.
Everything that you're saying, I followed it all.
Exactly.
And I followed in your explanation as well. We won't have this kind of opportunity. Or we have to come out, we need to figure out a way to be able to communicate this to the
Absolutely.
community that they understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes. And
So first I want to know how our CFO feels about all of this. And I don't know how soon we have to make this decision. And well, if we're gonna have it on the April ballot, we need to do it fairly quickly. I think you had some dates on here.
January 27th, I
Okay.
believe. But you probably have a board meeting in January. When is that?
we do.
13th?
So we'll only have one board meeting before, if we want this to be submitted for the April ballot.
Or you can do a special session board meeting.
Or we can do a special session, because we have nothing else to do.
It will be fairly quick. That'll be the only item on the agenda.
I understand.
And we can do it by Zoom.
I love Zoom, so that works for me. I'm just concerned on how we can condense this into a way that we can say it. And because you're only one person, we have many municipalities.
Right.
And I don't think it's rational to say that superintendent should go to each municipality to have to do this. I mean, it's just not rational, in my opinion. So, and if this is what you say we have to say, then we need to say it. But we need some talking points.
So
Literally some nice, like 5 bullet points.
right. So unfortunately, you have to say increase. I'm not the lawyer, although I did sleep in Holiday Inn last night. But unfortunately, state statute, you have to say it's an increase to the operating because it technically is an increase to the operating. But you're exactly right. You have to have very good and valid and succinct talking points to show that this is no increase to your overall levy, and you're just taking some of your funds or your levy from existing funds that are already being paid and taking them over to your operating. So you have to have succinct points to, and you can actually, if you have a citizens committee, that can pay for election material, but it just can't say vote yes, but just kind of bullet points, the simple 5 points on that, and pay for a flyer that's sent out to each resident. I'm not sure how much that'll cost these days, or just do a blast by email. But you certainly, the district couldn't pay for it. But if you have a citizens committee, a not-for-profit educational foundation that could pay for it, then you can actually do a flyer to each community member and to their residents, and then send an email blast out as well. And also put it on the website, and we can do a town hall meeting as well. So if you want to invite members out to a town hall meeting, I'm actually doing one next week on the 17th for another issue for the city of Delwood, which is part of the, for Mayor Jones, which is part of the River Garden School District. So we're doing a town hall on December 17th to talk about not this, but something else for the city of Delwood. So we can open it up to a school and say we're just going to have do a 20-minute presentation to talk about this and how this will be no increase to the citizens.
So Chair, I'm just, because of the passion that we hear from the community, and questions regarding our status and all of those things together. When we talk about the work we're gonna do in improving our buildings, I am questioned frequently, what are you all doing with the money that we voted for you all to have? I mean, and that's because they just really don't quite understand it and know. And how can you be in a deficit when we just gave you $25 million? You understand what I'm saying? So we've gotta be, if we do it, it's gotta be, it's a one hit. We can't come back and, well, yeah, we said this, but we meant that. It's gotta be done. I understand it, but you talked about, we've got this, we read it, and all of that other kind of stuff. We're not gonna do all that in front of everybody.
Mhm.
So what do we have to decide? If we want to ask for this?
Yes, you have to decide in how much you want to transfer
Okay.
And Ms. Lane, it is.
and approve the ballot language.
Yes, and it's part of the budget, the resizing the district plan as well. That's why I included it in there. So I have a very good understanding that we need to hit the ground running and make sure this is communicated effectively so that our citizens understand that this is not an increase to their taxes in any way. It is just taking some of the taxes that they've already agreed to pay and putting some of it in a different bucket so that we can move it to operational. We would have to work very hard. I have a meeting with the Riverview Foundation because I understand that it can't be district paid material. So I have a meeting next week with the Riverview Foundation and getting them to support this as well. So we have to hit the ground running. We have to build a strong communication plan, and we have to be, like you said, 5 talking points so that it's not, because when I started reading that ballot language, the first 2 or 3 sentences, I was like, wait a minute, and I had to go back and start over. So we are very clear that we have to be very succinct, very direct, and make it as easily understood as possible. This is not an increase to our community and their taxes.
And this is something that it was when Dr. Patton asked me to kind of look for ideas. This was something I'm doing this actually with 5 different school districts in April. So yes, and one actually approved it in April of 2025, and I'm working with an additional 5 if you all were to do it that are doing the same exact thing in April of 2026. So this is nothing that's just the Riverview Garden School District. This is something that has happened for lots of school districts. And this is on the Kansas City side as well as the St. Louis side. So you're just fortunate enough to where your debt service levy was robust and heavily funded. Thanks to Lorenzo. I'm kidding again. But no, I mean, it was in great shape. So we were able to use some of those existing funds to actually transfer over to your operating to help with that budget deficit.
One more question. I'm looking for the page, but I thought heard you say, yes, under remaining balance on the $25 million bond.
Mhm.
We have $24.3 million left out of that? We haven't
Yes.
spent that much money?
No, so that's what you have left to pay. So that's not how much
That's
it's
to pay.
to pay.
Okay,
Exactly.
right, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So think of it as a home loan. And so your remaining balance of your principal amount on your home loan. So that's not what you have left to spend. That's the.
I'm gonna say that didn't, okay, I misunderstood that
Yeah.
part. That's why I'm glad I asked.
Yep.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
gotcha.
Hey, Mr. Boyd, can you go back to page 13? And the column that has increased, what are those numbers again in the column?
Page 13. Oh, that's an increase from the previous amount. So basically the base case is 10 cents. So it's 365. So if you were to go up 5 cents, the increase from 365 to 547 is the 182,000. And then the 730,000 increase from the base case of 10 cents is the 365,000.
Okay, I see it now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Mr. Boyd, I do want to say thank you. I called him, I said, I need your help and we need to resolve this. And he came immediately. We've met about 3 times going over this information along with our CFO. And I do want to give our CFO an opportunity. Ms. Lane, you asked, you wanted to hear from our CFO and have her share her thoughts. So, Ms. Terry?
I think that it's a great opportunity for the district with us having such a healthy fund balance. We met, we talked about the pros and the cons. So I was more in alignment with, the increase of 20 cents, but I think there's an opportunity that the district needs to, take at the point that, we are having difficulty in Fund 1 and 2. There's not many opportunities to gain revenue. So this is an opportunity to do.
So the cons part, please.
Well, I know we had talked, initially about, going out for additional, bonds that would limit us for what, 5 years? Was it 5 years? But historically looking back, we don't go out for bonds that often. So I think it'd just be, an opportunity to gain some revenue that, from the revenue that we are seeing.
We just don't want to get in trouble.
Absolutely.
So the major con is, as Ms. Terry mentioned, is culture reducing your debt service debt.
Lorenzo, can you speak into them? There we go. Is it on? I can't.
Am I on?
Can you use Ms. Morrill? She's right there.
So as Ms. Terry mentioned, the school district only really goes out for bonds every 3 to 5 years. So by reducing your levy in your debt service fund, if you just went out for a bond in 2024, so conceivably you wouldn't probably look to do another bond until, let's say, 2029 or 2030. So by reducing that levy, if you wanted $20 million, I'm just throwing out a number, because you reduce that levy, you may not be able to get 20 million. You may only be able to get 15 million. And that's the biggest con. Not being able to generate a larger bond issue in the future, if you needed it.
And I do want to say that we also discussed going out for a referendum and it's just not the right time for that. To generate more money, a referendum to generate more money for our district. It is just not the right time for that. A couple of other schools tried it and it failed. And so when Mr. Boyd and I went, I wanted to focus on what we have already and if there's a possibility of generating revenue from what we already have. And we were able to work through several scenarios. So this actually helps us to generate revenue without going to the community to ask for more money. But we also need their permission to do it.
And you were very fortunate that you just went out for a large transaction in 2024. And this just happened to be perfect timing that even if you were to reduce your debt service levy, you wouldn't probably conceivably look to do anything until 2029 or 2030. And that's when your debt service really drops off considerably and you still will be able to do something at that point.
And so, Mr. Boyd, it's like borrowing your own money.
Exactly.
So do we have to pay it back?
No. So basically, you're just taking if you were to actually, if the school district, if the voters would say no, you would keep that levy still in your debt service levy. It will still stay there. So if they were to say no, your overall levy would remain the same. If they say yes, your overall levy would stay the same. You're just taking a portion of it and putting it into your operating. So regardless, if they say no, that levy is still staying the same. And you're just going to use that to pay your bonds. And then we'll probably at some point look to your fund balance will grow considerably because you're levying $1.13. And we'll just do a defeasance in the future to actually pay off some of your bonds like we did in 22 and 23. So the main talking point is if they say no, your levy stays the same. If you say yes, your levy stays the same. You're just taking 1 cent or 25 cents and putting it into the operating.
But if they say no, are the funds still available or not?
They're only available in your debt service fund. So you're not allowed to transfer to the operating.
Okay.
We won't be able to use them anywhere else.
Exactly.
So at the end of your bond, your ballot language, then can you put in, bold print, this is not an increase in taxes?
And I'll speak to the lawyers about that.
Okay. In bold print, please.
I'll speak to the lawyers about that. I don't want to get in trouble either.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boyd, I appreciate it. Oh, there is another item for information, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Madam Chair, there's another item. I was getting ready to hand it back to you, not so fast. Okay, our last item up for information is the kindergarten and second grade, 3rd through 5th grade elementary realignment and recommendation. As you all know, in November of 2025, well, last school year, we started the conversation. I brought the conversation forth because I knew that Riverview Gardens has a foundational issue, and there was thought put into how do we strengthen our foundation being kindergarten through second grade. And so we did a survey last year. We also did one this year. This one was done in November, and I'm going to share some information as to the results of that. The results were as follows. Communication, engagement, and initial reaction. There were 184 responses the second time around. There were 200 responses last year. 47% of the respondents were parents and 29% were district staff. A notable finding is while the community is moderately familiar with the concept of K2 through 5, 31% were not familiar at all before the survey was sent out. And so this demonstrates to me a need for continued education on this topic. The initial reaction of the proposed model is divided and yet slightly in favor of realignment. 43% of the respondents expressed support, 33% expressed opposition, and 24% remained neutral. It is the 24% that I'm most worried about because 43% is good if they express support, but the 24% can easily go either way, and I want to make sure that this is supported. Perceived benefits. The primary driver of the support for this model is centered around educational quality and focus. The community did recognize that the potential for academic advantages were around 48% of the respondents saw the benefit for age-specific instruction, and 45% anticipated focus for early learning in upper elementary grades. So they could see the perceived benefits of it. I do want to bring up the concerns. The survey identified key areas of concern that we need to address. The top two concerns selected by the community, they were given the opportunity to select two. 41% of the respondents expressed transportation or travel distance between schools. They were concerned with that. And 38% of the respondents expressed separating siblings into two different buildings. So in essence, if I had a first grader and a fourth grader, they could be in two different buildings. There were other significant concerns. 23% expressed the transition of adjustments for students from second to third grade. 25% expressed building relationships with new staff and principals. 23% expressed communication or coordination of events. So if there was a Christmas event at the K2 building and then a Christmas event at the 3-5 building, the parents not being able to support one of the other students because they're at the same time. Others stated that they would cause more transition for kids who are already dealing with the changes, such as the closure of Danforth Elementary. And another common concern, and this one is the one that I paid attention to all of it, but this one was very important. A few of the respondents actually commented on the growth that the district has experienced in the last 2 years. If you recall, our APR points increased by 11 points last year and by 11 points this year. And so we are on a trajectory to be fully accredited. And they were concerned about the effect of changing the schools in our last and most important year. And so I had to pay attention to that. There were also open-ended comments that supported the above concerns, the critical concerns, but also they were concerned with logistics of transporting schools, the negative impact of splitting up siblings, and then the older siblings, the younger siblings who rely on the older siblings to walk them to school, because we could end up, in essence, with a kindergartner walking and a fourth grader on a school bus. And right now, they all go to the same school. There were concerns raised about the impact of our students who receive special education services. And so I did have a conversation with a special school district who provide services for our students, and they are having budget issues as well. And so we have to be very careful that we are not putting ourselves in a situation where they are unable to support us. So Therefore, at this time, I am not recommending us to divide our schools to our elementary buildings to K-2 through 5. While I strongly believe in strengthening the foundation at those grade levels, it is critically important to our future. Relying on elementary school is not, relying on realignment of the elementary school is not the only way to accomplish the task. And we are not currently financially situated when you think about the right size of our district as well as our partner district. Therefore, I'm not recommending that at this time. What we will focus on is strong professional development for K-2 through 5 educators, strong alignment of the curriculum and state standards, a focus on phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, comprehension, number sense, improving, and I can't stress this enough, improving our attendance at the elementary level. Those K-2 are really the grades that has one of the grades, a few of the grades that have the highest absenteeism. And that is, we have to get our parents to understand the foundational part of that. And so I recommend that we table the conversation, or I will recommend that we table the conversation and we not address it at this time. So I wanted to share that information, and Madam Chair, that concludes my items for information.
Thank you, Dr. Patton.
Oh, I'm sorry, any questions? Sorry. Any questions about that?
I have one question, Dr. Patton. So what are next steps? We know that Danforth will be closing, so what can we anticipate now as part of the plan?
So we will be communicating the plan for redrawing our district boundaries with the closure of Danforth Elementary School. And that information will start to come out in January and February in terms of where students, how we divided the district. Again, I do want to stress this. Danforth is closing, but there will be other schools affected because we are taking the opportunity now to balance our district. As everyone knows, we have one school that has 120 some odd students, and we have another elementary school with almost 500. So this gives us the opportunity to better balance the district, and we will start communicating that in January and February.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, Madam Chair,
Yes. Ms.
I
Moore.
was just wondering too, as you.
Ms. Morrell, can you speak in?
Yes, so what I was thinking, I thought in terms of when my daughter started here, they did looping, am I saying that right?
Mhm.
They did looping. Would that be something that you would take into consideration since you're not, we're not gonna move forward with the other thing? That worked extremely well with her because she had that same teacher for 2 years who could then help her address some of the, I guess, concerns or issues that she had. And I was just curious, is that something that would be put into the mix?
So just for public information, looping is when the teacher follows the students from grade level to grade level. And I can honestly tell you that we have not given that any consideration, but that's something that we can think about, Ms. Morrell. I do believe that if we can strengthen the foundation of our district academically, we will be successful. So that's something we can give consideration to.
All right, we will now, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, has been moved by Ms. Tisworth and seconded by Dr. May to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion?
That was,
I said Dr. May.
Titsworth.
No. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?